5 years after divorce, she saw the CEO at the market, and couldn't hide her son. 5 years was supposed to be enough time for a life to settle into its new shape. For Lina, it had been just enough time to learn how to breathe again. The Saturday market buzzed with sound, vendors calling out prices, children laughing, canvas awnings snapping softly in the breeze. Lina balanced a basket of tomatoes on one arm while scanning the honey stand, her mind comfortably occupied with small, ordinary things. Rent was paid, her design clients were steady. Her son had finally stopped waking from nightmares. Normal. This was normal. Mom. Her heart skipped, not at the voice, but at the way it pulled her attention away from her guard. She turned too slowly, and then she saw him. Adrian Cole stood 3 stalls away, tall as ever, sleeves of his crisp white shirt rolled just enough to look casual. He was listening to a farmer explain the difference between wildflower and clover honey, nodding with that same focused seriousness he once brought to boardrooms and late-night arguments. The CEO, the man who now made headlines for billion-dollar acquisitions in glossy magazine covers. Her ex-husband. The basket slipped slightly in her grasp. Instinct took over before thought. Lina dropped to one knee and pulled Matteo behind her, pressing him gently but firmly against her back. "Stay close," she whispered. Matteo frowned. "Why? Just, please." Adrian turned. Time slowed in the cruel way it only does when the past collides with the present. His eyes met hers. Recognition flashed, sharp and undeniable. Surprise followed, then something softer, something that hurt more than anger ever had. "Lina," he said, stepping forward. She stood quickly, heart hammering. "Adrian," he smiled, the same half-smile that once undid her completely. "I thought that was you. I didn't know you lived here." "I didn't," she replied. I moved." Awkward words piled up between them like debris. He glanced at the basket, the market, then down. And then he saw Matteo. The boy's dark hair curled at his temples, his eyes wide and observant. He peeked out from behind Lina, curiosity winning over caution. Adrian froze. For a moment, Lina considered lying. Saying he was her nephew. A neighbor's child, anyone else's son, but the truth had a way of standing up straight. "How old is he?" Adrian asked quietly. 4, Lina said. His breath caught. She saw it, saw the math land, the realization settle into his bones. "His name?" Adrian asked. "Matteo." Adrian crouched slowly, as if sudden movement might shatter something fragile. "Hi, Matteo. I'm Adrian." Matteo looked up at Lina for permission. She hesitated, then nodded once. "Hi," Matteo said. "Do you like honey?" Adrian let out a soft, broken laugh. "Yeah, I do." They stood there, the noise of the market rushing around them, while 5 years of silence screamed between every word. "I didn't know," Adrian said finally, standing again. "You never told me." Lina's jaw tightened. "You were in Singapore when I found out. Then London. Then you told me the company had to come first. Again. That was before I realized I couldn't raise a child waiting for a man who was never home," she said, her voice low but steady. "Before I realized I was already alone." Adrian ran a hand through his hair, the gesture achingly familiar. "You should have told me anyway. Would it have changed anything?" she asked. He opened his mouth, closed it. Matteo tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, can we get the bread now?" Lina exhaled. "Yes, sweetheart." She turned to leave, but Adrian spoke again. "Can we talk, please?" She paused. 5 years ago, she would have said yes without thinking. Now she looked at her son, at the life she had stitched together with careful hands. "Coffee," she said. 10 minutes. That's all. They sat at a small cafe on the edge of the market, Matteo happily occupied with a croissant nearly his size. Adrian watched him with an intensity that made Lina's chest ache. "He's amazing," Adrian said. "He's kind," Lina replied. "He helps his classmates. He wants to be an astronaut and a baker." Adrian smiled. "Ambitious." Silence stretched again. "I missed so much," he said. "Not just this. Us." "Yes," Lina said simply. "I was wrong," he continued. "About my priorities. About thinking success could replace presence." She studied his face, searching for the polished confidence she once knew. It was still there, but underneath it was humility she hadn't seen before. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Adrian said, "or anything you don't want to give. I want to know my son." The word son landed heavily. Lina closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her voice was steady. "Matteo deserves honesty. And consistency. Not grand gestures." "I can do that," Adrian said quickly. I will. She stood, lifting Mateo into her arms. Then we start slow. Adrian nodded. As slow as you need. As they walked away, Lina felt something unfamiliar but not unwelcome. Not closure, not reconciliation, but possibility, and for the first time in 5 years, she didn't hide.